Hello and welcome to the lecture on return value from functions. Let's understand how to return a value from a function. So open up the logical flow. So we'll learn how to return a value from functions. Part of it will create this file. So let's create this file. So let's first understand what is the structure that you have to follow when you want to return something. So you can say function, and then you can say function name, then you have params inside it, then you can specify a semicolon here, and you can say return type. Okay, what you're returning, and when you want to return something, you can use the return keyword to return something, right? So we're going to look into this example. So let's say we have a method called add $a comma $b. Now you can specify after a colon what you're returning. So what type you're returning. So I'm saying I'm returning an integer type. So because I'm gonna say a plus b, so it will be an integer type, and I'm gonna pass that as an integer. Okay, so when you want to do this, you can even say addition, and you can take off that operation back to a variable, and then you can return that variable. Okay, and how to call this? So we'll say echo result 1 comma 2. Okay, so let's execute this. So the result is 3. Okay, so we are successfully able to call a method, and we are able to return the value, and we have mentioned what is the data type of the value that has been returned. So let's write a function, and then we'll return an array. Okay, so we'll say get even numbers, and we'll say limit. Now we'll say we are returning an array. And we'll define an array. That's how you define an empty array. So this is how we are adding a value to an array, and then we will return the return array. Okay, now we can say even numbers, and then we can say get even numbers, and you can pass the 10, some value to it, that's the limit. And then you can do a var dump or a print r of that variable, and you should be able to see a array. Okay, now you're able to see an array of all the even numbers that has been captured. Okay, so that's how you work with returning a value from a function. Remember, when you want to specify what data type you are passing from a return value, you have to mention it after the colon. You have to mention what data type you are printing, but it's not mandatory, right? You can even run this. It doesn't really complain on whether you are specifying or not. It's actually a good practice to explain about this function. Okay, if someone see this, they say, okay, this is a function, it is accept a parameter, it returns an array. You don't have to read the code. Without even reading a code, you actually just looking at this line, you know the function is going to return an array. Okay, so that's the beauty of having and specifying the return type. It is actually a good programming practice that you mention what is the return type. Well, that's all about returning values from functions, and I'll see you in the next one.